Backchat TV. Subscribe.
He has also talked about it. That left hook is so very and it's so long and so precise and so hard, but
Just that
What are
man
we
to man.
settling?
This man to man just
What are we
settled.
settling?
Obviously, we're gonna fight, aren't we?
Okay. Well, you said we're settling something. What
Yeah,
are we
we're
settling?
Let's settle whatever this is.
What is this?
Don't ask me them questions.
You see? You can't
You're
even
the one-
answer yourself, bro.
you're
What
the
is
one-
this, bruv? Because you're the one who's saying, oh, yeah.
Bro, stop
Alright,
making,
listen.
stop making this into a clown show.
I'm not turning that into a clown show.
ma-
This is
bro,
what
you're the one
happened,
that,
bro.
you're the one that wore a
Last
shirt.
week-
You're the one that wore a shirt with my face on it.
Yeah,
going
'cause
to
you went
Bournemouth.
missing.
Because you're a clown.
You went
That's
missing,
what you
bruv.
keep doing.
You went missing.
Everything you do is clown. You're just a clown.
Do you know what I think
That's
you need to do?
What?
I think what you're doing is you're trying to gas yourself up to fight me.
What's going on, boxing fans? It's Backchat TV, and I'm back speaking about this very interesting card on October the 21st, I believe it is, live on Sky Sports. It's at the O2 Arena, and we've got Lawal versus Isaac Chamberlain, two fighters who actually are not that very well known. And I don't know if they should be either, but you know, they're not as well known as they could have been. You know, up and coming rising stars. They have been, you know, around on the circuit for a while, but for some reason they're not. They haven't really broken out into that kind of like stardom. They definitely haven't broken out into stardom, but even just before stardom, they haven't really broken out into kind of like household names in the UK. But at the same time, I would say they are, you know, well known on the boxing circuit. If you're a boxing fan, you would know these two fighters. So, you know, they're on the edge of becoming, you know, well known in the UK and in the world, but they're not quite on the world stage as yet. So, you know, they're both cruiserweights. I've seen a few of their fights, more than probably most of the general public have seen of them. And I would say personally, I feel like Lawal is a better fighter. I think he's a better fighter than Chamberlain. I think he's a tougher opponent for anyone. I think he's a tough opponent. He's been a bit unfortunate where he hasn't had as many fights and he hasn't been that active, but I do think that, you know, he's a better fighter than Chamberlain. Chamberlain is a fighter who has talent, but he just doesn't seem like a winner. I know that sounds terrible, but I think he takes his foot off the gas at times when he should be pushing the issue a lot, and he tends to lose fights that, you know, he should have won. He tends to be a little bit of an underachiever, and I really want to see this fight because they're both underachievers, I think, for different reasons. We know that Lawal has had some injuries and some issues, dental issues, which has been made fun of by his opponent quite a few times. And what's quite funny about these two is they absolutely hate each other. So that always makes it more interesting in the pre-fight kind of the pre-fight conference is always more interesting when there's some bitterness in there. And then obviously in the fight itself, it often translates as well, which is the most interesting part. So I'm actually quite interested to see this cruiserweight matchup. Their styles match up well. They both can be aggressive. It's a pick and fight, definitely. It's very close. A lot of people are quite evenly split in this fight. I feel like Chamberlain's been more active. I don't know if that's correct or not because I'm not sure exactly, but I just feel as if I've seen Chamberlain in action more than I've seen Lawal, although I've seen Lawal in fights, but much earlier in his career. And then he kind of had this period of time where he was off for a little while. So I feel like Lawal might be more rusty and Chamberlain is going to be the one that's slightly more active. But ultimately, I think Lawal is going to win. And I just think, mainly just because I think he's just got a stronger mindset. I think he persists through adversity. I think he can turn up the heat when he needs to. I think he's the one who can really dig deep. And although Chamberlain is a very, a very brave guy, I've seen him getting beaten and really come back to put on a good performance. But I just feel like Chamberlain will be more okay with losing or even quitting, if you see what I mean, than Lawal. I don't know what it is, but Chamberlain doesn't seem to take boxing as serious as I think Mikel Lawal does, and for that reason, I've got him winning this this matchup. On to the next fight that's quite exciting on this card has to be the light heavyweight clash between Dan Azeez and Buatsi. That's actually the main event on this card. I should have done it the other way around, talking about this fight first. But yeah, this is definitely the main event. They're both rising stars, very highly talented. Buatsi, you could say, is a little bit ahead of Dan Azeez, but Dan Azeez starting his career a little bit later. He's coming through. He's fought all the tough fights, and recently he's had some great performances, and he's kind of more up and coming than I think Buatsi, but they're both up and coming fighters who haven't really hit stardom yet, but they're kind of on the edge of breaking through as household names. And I feel like whoever wins this fight is going to like define them as a fighter, because they're both up and coming fighters who are trying to make a name for themselves. So I think this fight will definitely propel one of these fighters towards a title shot, and that's the most important thing, because both of these fighters are capable of winning a world title at some point. I think they both got skills, they both got different attributes, and which leads me perfectly into talking about some of the attributes. It's on the 21st of October at the O2 Arena. It's going to be a great fight. They're both good fighters. They're both very stubborn. No one's going to be giving up in this fight, I can definitely tell you that. Buatsi can really dig deep when it's needed. I would say he was the superior boxer, maybe. He's got a lot of skills and he's very accurate. Some questions over maybe his stamina and things like that. Whereas with Dan Azeez, I think his stamina is going to be something that's a strong point for him. I don't think he punches as hard as Buatsi, but I think that he has the ability to just keep grinding, and I think he may have the edge when it comes to stamina. He's also a volume puncher, so he's going to keep coming forward, and he's more of a pressure fighter, whereas Buatsi is more of a kind of a counter puncher. So as you can imagine, it's going to be very interesting to see how that fight kind of comes together. This one I think is a really tough fight to call, even more tough than the fight previously, the cruiserweight fight between Mikel Lawal and Isaac Chamberlain. I think that this is even more difficult to call, because in that fight, I personally think Lawal's going to take it. Whereas in this fight, I really couldn't tell you. I really couldn't tell you. I haven't really made up my mind before actually making this video, because I think they've both got really good attributes. I don't see Dan Azeez as a person who's going to give up very easily, and I don't see Buatsi as a person who gives up very easily, because the thing is, Buatsi has been in really tough fights more than Azeez, so that may count for something. Other than that, it's really difficult to call. It's really close, razor close. A few months ago, I would have said Buatsi hands down. He was kind of the up-and-coming fighter who could do no wrong. Recently, he's looked vulnerable in a few fights, and Dan Azeez has looked flawless. So personally, I feel like the momentum is with Dan Azeez, and because of that, I'd probably have to go with Dan Azeez to win. Just because of the time, the momentum is going with him. He looks great at the moment. Buatsi, there seems to be a little bit more question mark over Buatsi recently, even though he's had some marquee wins. I'm still not sure where Buatsi is physically, mentally in his training. Whereas Dan Azeez looks like he's going from strength to strength. So, maybe I'd have to just edge Dan Azeez, to be honest. And I can't even believe I'm saying that, because I'm actually quite a big fan of Buatsi. I just don't think I've seen him fight actively enough. I don't think he's progressed as much as maybe he should have. I don't even know if it's that. I think just because I've seen some weaknesses now that he's fought some tough fights, and just seeing those weaknesses has kind of swayed my mind a little bit towards Dan Azeez. So I'm never one to sit on the fence. I'm going to go for Dan Azeez to get a split decision points win over Buatsi, and yeah, I think he'll do it. But let me know what you think. I could very easily be wrong about both these fights. Let me know. I'm on to the next one.
Man, guess who's back? I said, guess who's back?
I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who tuned into my channel today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment and share the video and consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you.